Happy Days is an American television sitcom that aired first run from January 15, 1974, to September 24, 1984, on ABC. Created by Garry Marshall, the series presents an idealized vision of life in the mid-1950s to mid-1960s United States. The series was produced by Miller-Milkis Productions and Henderson Productions in association with Paramount Television. Happy Days is one of the highest-rated shows of the 1970s. Plot: set in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, the series revolves around teenager Richie Cunningham and his family, his father, Howard, who owns a hardware store, traditional homemaker and mother, Marion, younger sister Joni, and high school dropout, biker and suave ladies man Arthur Fonzie/the Phones Fonzarelli, who would eventually become the Cunninghams' upstairs tenant. The earlier episodes revolve around Richie and his friends, Potsy Weber and Ralph Malph, with Fonzie as a secondary character. However, as the series progressed, Fonzie proved to be a favorite with viewers and soon more storylines were written to reflect his growing popularity, and Winkler was eventually credited with top billing in the opening credits alongside Howard as a result. Fonzie befriended Richie and the Cunningham family, and when Richie left the series for military service, Fonzie became the central figure of the show, with Winkler receiving sole top billing in the opening credits. In later seasons, other characters were introduced including Fonzie's young cousin, Charles Catchy Arcola, who became a love interest for Joni Cunningham. The series pilot was originally shown as Love and the television set a one-episode teleplay on the anthology series Love, American Style. Happy Days spawned the hit television shows Laverne and Shirley and Mork and Mindy as well as Three Failures, Joni Loves Catchy, Blansky's Beauties, and Out of the Blue. The show is the basis for the Happy Days musical touring the United States since 2008. The leather jacket worn by Winkler during the series hangs in the Smithsonian Institution. Cast and characters: Maine, Richie Cunningham the protagonist for the first 7 years of the series. When Ron Howard left the show due to his burgeoning directorial career, Richie was written out by leaving to join the United States Army. He marries his girlfriend, Lori Beth, in Season 8 by phone, while Fonzie stands in for him in the wedding. Howard returned for guest appearances as Richie during the show's final season. He came back with Lori Beth and their son, Richie Jr., and Ralph in the Season 11 two-part episode, Welcome Home, and then left for California with Lori Beth and Richie Jr. to pursue a career in screenwriting. He also returned in Passages, when he and his family attended Joni and Catchy's wedding. Marion Mrs. C. Cunningham wife of Howard Cunningham, mother of Richie and Joni, and a traditional homemaker. She is the only character who is allowed to call Fonzie by his real first name, Arthur, which she does affectionately. She sometimes gets tired of being at home, such as in Marion Rebels, where she gets into an argument with Howard and briefly gets a job as a waitress at Arnold's. In Empty Nest, when Joni left for Chicago to pursue her music career, Marion had empty nest syndrome, and was thrilled when her and Howard's niece, Casey, moved in with them. Marion was one of only 4 characters to remain with the show throughout its entire run. Howard Mr. C. Cunningham husband of Marion Cunningham, father of Richie and Joni, business owner of a hardware store called Cunningham's Hardware, he is a lodge member, and family man. Frequently seen reading the daily newspaper in his easy chair. Enjoys driving his beloved 1949 DeSoto Carryall. In Letting Go, he did not want Joni to go to Chicago, still seeing her as his little girl. But after talking with Fonzie and realizing how much she has grown up, he supports her going. In Passages, Howard says that he is proud of Richie and Joni and Catchy's wedding. Howard is one of only 2 characters to appear in every episode of the series. Joni Cunningham Richie's younger sister. In early seasons, she is sometimes snooping on Richie's activities and would occasionally be sent to her room by her parents. She is affectionately called Shortcake by Fonzie. Later on, Joni briefly joins a motorcycle gang after going on a date with a boy, whom she considered to be dull. In Smokin' Ain't Cool, Joni started smoking in order to be in a cool club, until Fonzie sets her straight. For years, Fonzie's cousin, Catchy, had been chasing her until she eventually agreed to a date with him. She and Catchy would eventually form a band together. And in letting go, they leave for Chicago to pursue their music career. Joni, however, eventually left the band to return home to pursue a teaching career. She and Catchy then broke up for a time until Catchy proposes to her and they get married in the series finale. Arthur Herbert Fonzie Fonzarelli initially a minor character, he was a hugely popular breakout character and was made a series regular. Fonzarelli's Fonzie nickname and comeback phrase, "Sit on it," were created by the show's producer, Bob Brunner. Known for being especially cool and for his catchphrases, "H-A-I" and "Whoa." His coolness gave him special powers, such as making machinery function by pounding on them with his fist, or getting the attention of girls by snapping his fingers. His parents abandoned him as a child and his grandmother raised him from the age of 4. Warren Potsy Weber Richie's best friend and an aspiring talented singer. He is somewhat more carefree and worldly than Richie in early seasons, then in mid-seasons, he becomes more often paired with Ralph the Plots, and the two became inseparable. In later seasons, his character evolves to increasingly emphasize his dim-witted side, and Ralph would often say to him, "You're such a Potsy." Potsy often lightheartedly mentioned the supposed hatred his father had for him. Potsy remained with the show after Richie and Ralph joined the Army. However, he was seen less frequently. While Potsy's character became underdeveloped in these later episodes, he is mentioned to regularly bowl with the Cunninghams and still continues his position as assistant manager of Cunningham Hardware, and as pledge master of the Leopard Lodge. Ralph Malfa in the first season, Ralph was more of a side character to Plots, but when most became a main cast member in season 2, Ralph was more commonly seen, and he, Richie, and Potsy became the three amigos. Known for saying "I still got it" after delivering one of his jokes. Ralph left with Richie after the 1979 80 season to join the Army. Malf returned as a guest star in the final season, although he is absent in the finale he is mentioned as having left to continue college to become an optometrist like his father. Charles Catchy Arcola Fonzie's younger cousin and later Al Delvecchio's stepson. Catchy eventually dated and later married Joni Cunningham. Mitsumo Arnold Takahashi Pat Morita depicted the owner of Arnold's Drive-In for Season 3. He stated that he obtained the moniker when he purchased Arnold's restaurant and people thought it was named after him, explaining that it was too costly to buy enough letter signs needed to rename it Takahashi. He moonlighted as a martial arts instructor, teaching self-defense classes at the Drive-In after hours. Morita also played Arnold as a guest star in 1977 and 1979 before returning as a recurring character after Al Molinaro departed in 1982. Al Delvecchio from seasons 4 to 9, Al became the new owner cook of the Drive-In after Arnold got married the previous season. Al later married Catchy's mother Louisa, thereby becoming Catchy's stepfather and Fonzie's uncle. Molinaro left Happy Days in 1982 to take his Al character to Joni Loves Catchy, and returned as Al in 3 later episodes of Happy Days. Known for sighing "yeep, yep, 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 yep," when he was disappointed or when things did not go his way. Jenny Piccolo Joni's boy crazy best friend, often mentioned in early episodes, but did not appear in person until the 1980 season. Returned as a guest star in the series finale. Jenny's father appeared in one episode, played by Silver's real-life father Phil Silvers. Roger Phillips Marion's nephew, coach and teacher at Jefferson High, until vocational education, where he became principal at Patton High. Introduced in 1980 after Richie left the show as a recurring character. Laurie Beth Allen Cunningham Richie's girlfriend and later his wife. She married Richie by phone in season 8. Fonzie helped Laurie Beth while she delivers the baby in Little Baby Cunningham. She returned as a guest star in the final season. Ashley Pfister divorced mother who becomes Fonzie's steady girlfriend, but later broke up off-screen sometime before, Where the Guys Are. Minor, Marsha Sims a car hop in the first 2 seasons. appeared in the background of a few episodes during the third season before disappearing from the show. However, she later returned for a guest appearance in the episode Our Gang. Bobby, a friend of Catchy and Joni, seen in episodes after Richie and Ralph left the show. He is a student in Fonzie's auto shop class, as well as in Roger's health class. At one point, he was also on the Jefferson High basketball team, and performed in a band with Joni and Catchy. Casey Cunningham, Howard's niece. She moved in with Howard and Marion after Joni left for Chicago. She left an all-girls boarding school in Texas because it closed down. Her parents are always traveling. She also became friends with Jenny and she went on her first date with Melvin. Leopold Flip Phillips, Roger's rebellious younger brother. He usually wears a shirt cut off over his belly button. Tommy, another friend of Catchy and Joni in episodes after Richie and Ralph left the show. Like Bobby, Tommy is a student in Fonzie's auto shop class, as well as in Roger's health class. At one point, he was also on the Jefferson High basketball team, and performed in a band with Joni and Catchy. Heather Foster, Ashley Foster's daughter. Initially did not get along with Fonzie, but gradually learned to accept him as a father figure. Eugene Belvin, a nerdy classmate of Joni and Catchy, and twin brother of Melvin Belvin. Is in Fonzie's auto shop class, and has a crush on Jenny Piccolo. Despite being a general stooge to his classmates at Jefferson High, he frequently tags along with Joni and Catchy's circle of friends. Charles Chuck Cunningham, the oldest son of Howard and Marion Cunningham, older brother of Richie and Joni, college student and basketball player, who is rarely seen and disappears without explanation in Season 2, giving rise to the pejorative term Chuck Cunningham syndrome to describe TV characters simply disappearing from shows, to the point where later episodes of the show are scripted as if the character had never existed. For example, in the last Happy Days episode, Howard comments that he is proud of his 2 kids. Chuck's college apartment was always littered with sports gear and he would often be seen carrying a basketball. Bags Imbroski, a schoolmate and leader of a gang called the Demons. Police Officer Kirk/Army Reserve Major Kirk, Fonzie's nemesis and antagonist, who's eager to demonstrate his inflated sense of authority, and on the watch for delinquents and pinkos. Kirk took over as acting sheriff following the untimely death of Sheriff Flanagan. Wendy, a car-hop from Arnold's in Season 2. Melvin Belvin, a nerdy classmate of Joni and Catchy, and twin brother of Eugene Belvin. Like his brother, Melvin frequently tags along with Joni's and Catchy's circle of friends. He once went on a date with Casey Cunningham. Leva Tuscadero, a musician. Sister of Pinky Tuscadero, and a former juvenile delinquent. Formed her own girl group called Leva Tuscadero and the Suedes. Jennifer Jerome, Potts's steady girlfriend. May Huffy was Anson Williams' then-wife. Louisa Arcola Del Vecchio, a mother of Catchy Arcola and Fonzie's aunt. She married Al Del Vecchio and they moved to Chicago. Gloria, Richie's occasional girlfriend in Season 2. Dr. Mickey Malfa, Ralph's father, an optometrist and, like his son, a self-styled comedian. Briefly separated from his wife Minnie, but apparently resolved issues with her after a talk with Ralph. It was Dr. Malf who convinced Fonzie to wear glasses after he started having vision problems. Raymond Spike Fonzarelli, Fonzie's cousin and his copycat. He went on a date with Joni and not with my sister, you don't. Made fleeting appearances before the introduction of Catchy. The kinship between Spike and Catchy was never explained. Pinky Tuscadero, a former girlfriend of Fonzie and a traveling demolition derby driver. Clarence, a cook at Arnold's who is referred to several times throughout the show, but never actually seen until the episode A Woman Not Under the Influence. There, it is revealed that Clarence is a little person. Clarence seems to have a good relationship with Al, but also frequently upsets him while goofing off in the kitchen. Bill Sticks Downey, a friend of Fonzie, Richie, Pottsy and Ralph and drummer for their band, hence his nickname Sticks, though he claimed he got the nickname because he was skinny. Notable guest stars, Henry Aaron, the Milwaukee Braves home run king, appeared in Season 7, Episode 9, Frankie Avalon appeared as himself, singing his signature song Venus to a swooning Jenny Piccolo at the Leopard Lodge's annual Pooh Bah Doodah musical. Dr. Joyce Brothers appears as herself, trying to help Fonzie's dog out of a depression. Julie Brown made her television debut in the episode A Wilderness as one of 3 girls who went camping with Richie. Fonzie A.L. Morgan Fairchild appears in Season 5, Episode 10 as a snooty rich socialite who tries to humiliate Fonzie. Herbie Faye appeared as Pop in the 1974 episode Knock Around the Block. Lorne Greene made a brief walk-on cameo during the Season 5 premiere, which took place in Hollywood. Tom Hanks appeared in an episode as a character seeking revenge on Fonzie for pushing him off a swing when the two of them were in the 3rd grade. The confrontation occurs just as Fonzie was about to be given a Community Leader Award. John Hart appeared in Season 9, Episode 17 where Fonzie meets his childhood idol. Christopher Knight played Joni's boyfriend on the Season 5 episode Be My Valentine. Cheryl Ladd appeared in Wish Upon a Star, playing the part of a Hollywood starlet Richie wins a date with. Penny Marshall and Cindy Williams played recurring characters Lavender Fazio and Shirley Feeney in 3 episodes during the Season 3, which led to the 2 starring in the spin-off series Laverne and Shirley. They also make guest appearances in the Season 6's Fonzie's Funeral, and Season 7's Shotgun Wedding. Michael McKean and David L. Lander, of Laverne and Shirley, portrayed their Lenny and Squiggy characters in the Season 6 episode Fonzie's Funeral. Eddie Mecca, also from Laverne and Shirley, portrayed his Carmine character in the Season 4's Joni's Weird Boyfriend, and the Season 6's Fonzie's Funeral. Maureen McCormick was Hildy in Season 2, Episode 16. James Millolin, a character actor, made the last television appearance of his career as Mr. Rudy in the 1979 episode Potsy Quits School. James Randi appeared as himself in the episode The Magic Show. Buffalo Bob Smith and Bob Brunner as Clarabel the Clown appeared in the episode The Howdy Doody Show. The characters come to town looking for Howdy Doody look-alikes. Craig Stevens, the star of detective show Peter Goon, played Ashley Pfister's father in Hello Pfisters. Robin Williams appeared in 2 episodes as Mork from Ork. In Season 5's My Favorite Orkin, Mork wants to take Richie back to Ork with him to study Earthlings, which led to the spin-off Mork and Mindy. Season 6's Mork Returns aired during the height of the popularity of Mork and Mindy. Cast changes, with Season 4, Al Molinaro was added as Al Delvecchio, the new owner of Arnold's, after Pat Morita's character of Arnold moved on after his character got married. Al Molinaro also played Al's twin brother Father Anthony Delvecchio, a Catholic priest. Al eventually married Catchy's mother and Father Delvecchio served in the wedding of Joni to Catchy in the series finale. The most major character changes occurred after Season 5 with the addition of Scott Baio as Fonzie's cousin, Charles Catchy Arcola. Originally, the character Spike was supposed to be the character who became Catchy. Season 5 also saw the introduction of more outlandish and bizarre plots including Fonzie making a bet with the devil, and the appearance of Mork, an alien who wanted to take Richie back to his home world. Although when first aired this ended with it all simply being a dream Richie was having, after the success of the spin-off Mork and Mindy this episode was retconned in subsequent airings by way of additional footage to have actually taken place, with Mork having wiped everyone's memory except Richie's and then deciding to time travel to the present day. Linda Goodfriend joined the cast as semi-regular character Lori Beth Allen, Richie's steady girlfriend, in Season 5, and became a permanent member of the cast between Seasons 8 and 10, after Lori Beth married Richie. After Ron Howard left the series, Ted McGinney joined the cast as Roger Phillips, the new physical education teacher at Jefferson High and nephew to Howard and Marion. He took over from the departed Richie Cunningham character, acting as counterpoint to Fonzie. Kathy Silvers also joined the cast as Jenny Piccolo, Joni's best friend who was previously referenced in various episodes from earlier seasons and remained as a main cast member until the final season. Both actors were originally credited as guest stars but were promoted to the main cast during Season 10 after several series regulars left the show. The real focus of the series was now on the Joni and Catchy characters, and often finding ways to incorporate Fonzie into them as a shoulder to cry on, advice giver, and savior as needed. The Potsy character, who had already been spun off from the devious best friend of Richie to Ralph's best friend and confidant, held little grist for the writers in this new age, and was now most often used as the occasional dumb foil for punchlines. Billy Warlock joined the cast in season 10 as Roger's brother Flip, along with Crystal Bernard as Howard's and Marion's niece Casey. They were intended as replacements for Aaron Moran and Scott Baio and were credited as part of the semi-regular cast. Both characters left with the return of Moran and Baio, following the cancellation of Joni Loves Catchy. Al Molinaro also left Happy Days in season 10 for Joni Loves Catchy. Pat Morita then returned to the cast as Arnold in his absence. In season 11, the storyline of Richie and Lori Beth is given closure with the two-part episode Welcome Home. Richie returns home from the army, but barely has time to unpack when he learns that his parents have lined up a job interview at the Milwaukee Journal for him. However, they are taken aback when he tells them he prefers to take his chances in California to become a Hollywood screenwriter. They remind him of his responsibilities, and while Richie gives in, he becomes angry and discontent, torn between his obligations to his family and fulfilling his dream. After a confrontation that ends with a conversation with Fonzie, he decides to face his family and declare his intentions. While somewhat reluctant at first, they support him and bid Richie, Lori Beth, and Little Richie an emotional farewell. Ralph also returns home after being honorably discharged from the U.S. Army in the episode entitled Welcome Home, and he decides to become an optometrist just like his father. Ralph goes off to college, and this serves as his last appearance in Happy Days. Gail Edwards, who previously guest-starred in the episode A Potsy is Born, was offered the role that Crystal Bernard would fill but was never told so by her managers, as they knew she would take the role and they did not want her to be a new character on an old show. Edwards would subsequently appear with Bernard in 93 episodes of It's a Living. Happy Days producers Tom Miller and Bob Boyett would eventually get to work with Edwards again, casting her as a regular on their future sitcoms The Family Man and Full House, where Edwards portrayed Vicki Larson from 1991 until 1994. History: Happy Days originated during a time of 1950s nostalgic interest as evident in 1970s film, television, and music. Beginning as an unsold pilot filmed in late 1971 called New Family in Town, with Harold Gould in the role of Howard Cunningham, Marion Ross as Marion, Ron Howard as Richie, Anson Williams as Potsy, Rick Carrot as Charles Chuck Cunningham, and Susan Nair as Joni, Paramount passed on making it into a weekly series, and the pilot was recycled with the title Love and the Television Set, for presentation on the television anthology series Love, American Style. In 1972, George Lucas asked to view the pilot to determine if Ron Howard would be suitable to play a teenager in American Graffiti, then in pre-production. Lucas immediately cast Howard in the film, which became one of the top-grossing films of 1973. Show creator Garry Marshall and ABC recast the unsold pilot to turn Happy Days into a series. According to Marshall in an interview, executive producer Tom Miller said while developing the sitcom, "If we do a TV series that takes place in another era, and when it goes into reruns, then it won't look old." This made sense to Marshall while on the set of the show. Gould had originally been tapped to reprise the role of Howard Cunningham on the show. However, during a delay before the start of production he found work doing a play abroad, and when he was notified the show was ready to begin production, he declined to return because he wanted to honor his commitment. Bosley was then offered the role. Production and scheduling notes: Jerry Paris, who played next-door neighbor Jerry Helper on The Dick Van Dyke Show and directed several episodes of that series, directed every episode of Happy Days from Season 3 on, except for 3 episodes in Season 3. Producer and writer Bob Brunner created Arthur Fonzarelli's Fonzie nickname and his iconic comeback phrase, "Sit on it." Until the show went out of production, reruns of the show were syndicated under the title Happy Days Again. Happy Days was produced by Miller-Milkis Productions, a teaming of Thomas L. Miller with former film editor Edward K. Milkis, which became Miller-Milkis-Boyett Productions when Robert L. Boyett joined the company in 1980, and was the first ever show to be produced by the company's most recent incarnation, Miller-Boyett Productions, which followed Milkis's resignation from the partnership. It was also produced by Henderson Productions and was one of the popular shows produced in association with Paramount Television. In its 11 seasons on the air, Happy Days is the second longest-running sitcom in ABC's history, and one of the longest-running primetime programs in the network's history. It is also unique in that it remained in the Tuesday at 8 p.m. time slot for the series' first 10 seasons. Tuesdays at 8 p.m. became a signature time slot for ABC, with Who's the Boss? Instantly becoming a top 10 hit when it was moved from Thursdays and staying in that time slot for 6 seasons, followed by the equally family-friendly sitcom Full House. That sitcom also hit the top 10 immediately after inheriting the Tuesday at 8 p.m. slot and then stayed there for 4 seasons. Happy Days also proved to be quite popular in daytime reruns. They joined the ABC daytime schedule in 1975, airing reruns at 11:30 a.m., being moved to 11 a.m. in 1977, paired with Family Feud following at 11:30 a.m. It was replaced on the daytime schedule by reruns of its spin-off, Laverne and Shirley, in April 1979. CBS programming head Fred Silverman scheduled Good Times directly against Happy Days during their respective second seasons in an attempt to kill the ABC show's growing popularity. In a way, this move backfired on Silverman, as he was named president of ABC in 1975, thus forcing him to come up with a way to save the show he tried to kill the year before. After having knocked Happy Days out of the top 20 programs on television his last year at CBS, Silverman had the series at the top of the Nielsen ratings by 1977. Production styles: the first 2 seasons of Happy Days were filmed using a single camera setup and laugh track. One episode of Season 2 was filmed in front of a studio audience with 3 cameras as a test run. From the 3rd season on, the show was a 3-camera production in front of a live audience, giving these later seasons a markedly different style. A laugh track was still used during post-production to smooth over live reactions. Sets: the show had 2 main sets, the Cunningham home and Arnold's Drive-In. In seasons 1 and 2, the Cunningham house was arranged with a front door on the left and the kitchen on the right of screen, in a triangular arrangement. From season 3 on, the house was rearranged to accommodate multiple cameras and a studio audience. The Cunningham's official address is 565 North Clinton Drive, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. The house that served as the exterior of the Cunningham residence is actually located at 565 North Cayuga Boulevard in Los Angeles, several blocks from the Paramount lot on Melrose Avenue. The Milky Way Drive-In, located on Port Washington Road in the North Shore suburb of Glendale, Wisconsin, was the inspiration for the original Arnold's Drive-In. It has since been demolished. The exterior of Arnold's was a standing set on the Paramount Studios lot that has since been demolished. This exterior was close to Stage 19, where the rest of the show's sets were located. The set of the diner in the first season was a room with the same vague details of the later set, such as the paneling, and the college pennants. When the show changed to a studio production in 1975, the set was widened and the entrance was hidden, but allowed an upstage, central entrance for cast members. The barely seen kitchen was also upstage and seen only through a pass-through window. The diner had orange booths, downstage center for close-up conversation, as well as camera left. There were 2 restroom doors, camera right, labeled Guys and Dolls. A 1953 Seeburg Model G jukebox was positioned camera right, and an anachronistic Nippet pinball machine was positioned far camera right. College pennants adorned the walls, including Purdue and University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee, along with a blue and white sign reading Jefferson High School. Milwaukee's Washington High School provided the inspiration for the exteriors of the fictional Jefferson. In a 2-part episode from a later season, the original Arnold's Drive-In was written out of the series as being destroyed by fire. In the last seasons that covered the 60s timeline, a new Arnold's Drive-In set emerged in a 60s decor with wood paneling and stained glass. In 2004, 2 decades after the first set was destroyed, the Happy Days 30th anniversary reunion requested that the reunion take place in Arnold's. The set was rebuilt by production designer James Yanel based on the original floor plan. The reunion special was taped at CBS Television City's Bob Barker studio in September 2004. Theme music. Season 1 used a newly recorded version of Rock Around the Clock by Bill Haley and His Comets as the opening theme song. This recording was not commercially released at the time, although the original 1954 recording returned to the American Billboard charts in 1974 as a result of its use on the show. The Happy Days recording had its first commercial release in 2005 by the German label Hydra Records. Some versions intended for reruns and overseas broadcasts. The original Rock Around the Clock opening theme is replaced by the more standard Happy Days theme. The show's closing theme song in seasons 1 and 2 was a fragment from Happy Days, whose music was composed by Charles Fox and whose lyrics were written by Norman Jim Bell. According to SAG, this version was performed by Jimmy Haas on lead vocals, Ron Hicklin of the Ron Hicklin Singers, Stan Farber, Jerry Whitman, and Gary Garrett on backing vocals, and studio musicians. From seasons 3 to 10 inclusive, a longer version of Happy Days replaced Rock Around the Clock at the beginning of the show. Released as a single in 1976 by Pratt and McLean, Happy Days cracked the top 5. The show itself finished the 1976-77 television season at number 1, ending the 5-year Nielsen reign of All in the Family. On the season 2 DVD set release, the song Rock Around the Clock was replaced with a reconstructed version of Happy Days. This was done because of music rights issues. For the show's 11th and final season, the theme was re-recorded in a more modern style. It featured Bobby Arvin on lead vocals, with several backup vocalists. To accompany this new version, new opening credits were filmed, and the flashing Happy Days logo was reanimated to create an overall new feel which incorporated 1980s sensibilities with 1950s nostalgia. Ratings: Season 1, number 16, Season 2, not in top 30, Season 3, number 11, Season 4, number 1, Season 5, number 2, Season 6, number 3, Season 7, number 17, Season 8, number 15, Season 9, number 18, Season 10, number 28, Season 11, not in top 30, broadcast history, Tuesday at 8 o'clock (8:30 p.m. on ABC, January 15, 1974 March 22, 1983, Tuesday at 8:30 (9 p.m. on ABC, September 27, 1983 May 8, 1984, Thursday. At 8:30 (9 p.m. on ABC, June 28 July 19, 1984, Thursday at 8 o'clock (8:30 p.m. on ABC, September 27, 1984, episodes. Jumping the Shark. The term jumping the shark originated from Happy Days. It is used to describe a point in a series where it resorts to outlandish or preposterous plot devices to maintain or regain good ratings, but the effort fails and is instead considered the beginning of the end of the show. Specifically, the term jumping the shark arose from the season 5 episode Hollywood that first aired on September 20, 1977, in which a water-skiing Fonzie jumps over a confined shark. Despite the decline in ratings, Happy Days continued for several years until its cancellation in 1984. The program never received an Emmy nomination for writing during its entire run. Comedy writing Emmy nominations during Happy Days broadcast history were routinely achieved by the writers of such shows as MASH, The Mary Tyler Moore Show and All in the Family. Syndication: Happy Days has been syndicated by many networks. It aired in the United States on TBS from 1989 to 1995, the Family Channel from 1990 to 1996, Nick at Night from 1996 to 2000, Odyssey Network Hallmark Channel from 1999 to 2002, TV Land from 2002 to 2007, WGN America from 2002 until 2008, and FamilyNet from 2009 to 2010. It also aired on MeTV from December 21, 2010, until early 2012, when it was removed from the network's lineup, where it aired on Sunday afternoons at 1 p.m. Eastern and Pacific Time. The series also joined INSP's lineup, airing in an hour block from 6 to 7 p.m. Eastern Time, on January 2, 2012 to September 30, 2013. From October 11, 2010 through January 12, 2014, the show aired on The Hub. The show returned to MeTV on May 26, 2014. The show also returned to The Hub on May 31, 2014. In the United Kingdom, reruns aired on 5 USA and on Channel 4 between the early 1990s to the early 2000s. Original run episodes in the 1970s and 1980s were shown on various regions of the ITV network, usually on a weekday afternoon at 17:15. When reruns first went into syndication on local stations while the series was still producing new episodes, the reruns were retitled Happy Days Again. The series went into off-network syndication in fall 1979, just as Season 7 began on ABC. Merchandising revenue lawsuit. On April 19, 2011, 5 Happy Days co-stars, Erin Moran, Don Most, Marion Ross, Anson Williams and the estate of the late Tom Bosley, who died in 2010, filed a $10 million breach of contract lawsuit against CBS, which owns the show, claiming they had not been paid for merchandising revenues owed under their contracts. The cast members claimed they had not received revenues from show-related items, including comic books, T-shirts, scrapbooks, trading cards, games, lunch boxes, dolls, toy cars, magnets, greeting cards and DVDs where their images appear on the box covers. Under their contracts, they were supposed to be paid 5% from the net proceeds of merchandising if their sole image were used, and half that amount if they were in a group. CBS said it owed the actors $8,500 and $9,000 each, most of it from slot machine revenues, but the group said they were owed millions. The lawsuit was initiated after Ross was informed by a friend playing slots at a casino of a Happy Days machine on which players win the jackpot when 5 Marion Rosses are rolled. In October 2011, a judge rejected the group's fraud claim, which meant they could not receive millions of dollars in potential damages. On June 5, 2012, a judge denied a motion filed by CBS to have the case thrown out, which meant it would go to trial on July 17 if the matter was not settled by then. In July 2012, the actors settled their lawsuit with CBS. Each received a payment of $65,000 and a promise by CBS to continue honoring the terms of their contracts. DVD releases. Paramount Home Entertainment and CBS DVD have released the first 5 seasons of Happy Days on DVD in Region 1, as of May 20, 2014. Each release from CBS features music replacements due to copyright issues, including the theme song Rock Around the Clock for Season 2. Seasons 1 to 4 have also been released on DVD in the UK and in Region 4. Spin-offs. Happy Days, itself a spin-off from Love, American Style, resulted in 7 different spin-off series, including 2 that were animated, Laverne and Shirley, Blansky's Beauties, Mork and Mindy, Out of the Blue, Joni Loves Catchy, The Phones and the Happy Days Gang and Laverne and Shirley with special guest star The Phones. The most successful of these spin-offs, Laverne and Shirley, also took place in early mid-1960s Milwaukee. As Schatz brewery workers, modeled after the Miller, Schlitz, and Pabst breweries once located in Milwaukee, Laverne and Shirley find themselves in adventures with the Phones, Lenny and Squiggy and even the Cunninghams also living in the Midwestern city. The 2 starring characters eventually moved to Los Angeles in the show's later years. Penny Marshall is the sister of producer Garry Marshall. Robin Williams made his first appearance as Mork on Happy Days. In his own sitcom, Mork and Mindy, his character of Mork, the alien from the planet Ork, landed in 1970s Boulder, Colorado, to study humans and took up residence with Pam Dauber's character of Mindy McConnell. Originally, Mork's appearance was explained as a dream of Richie's. But after the spin-off was established, a new ending was tagged on to the repeat of the Happy Days episode explaining that Mork would return to Earth in 1978. Joni Loves Catchy was a short-lived show about Richie's younger sister Joni and Phones' younger cousin Catchy's relationship during their years as musicians in Chicago. While commonly believed that the show was cancelled due to low ratings, the program finished in the top 20 its first season, but ABC determined that the show was losing too much of its lead-in, suggesting low appeal if the show were moved. This type of cancellation seemed strange in the early 1980s, but soon became a commonplace part of TV audience research. Out of the Blue is a spin-off of Happy Days, though a scheduling error had the series airing prior to the main character's introduction on Happy Days. Blansky's Beauties starred Nancy Walker as former Las Vegas showgirl Nancy Blansky. 1 week before the show's premiere, the Blansky character appeared on Happy Days as a cousin of Howard Cunningham. Scott Baio and Linda Goodfriend co-starred before joining Happy Days the following fall, and Pat Morita reprised his role of Arnold. Similarly, Eddie Mecca of Laverne and Shirley played the cousin of his Carmine character, while pulling double duty as a regular in both shows. Animation: there are 2 animated series. Both were produced by Hanna-Barbera Productions in association with Paramount Television. The Phones and the Happy Days Gang ran from 1980 to 1982. There are also animated spin-offs of Laverne and Shirley and Mork and Mindy. The following season, they were connected together as the Mork and Mindy Laverne and Shirley Phones Hour. Musicals: in the late 1990s, a touring arena show called Happy Days, the Arena Spectacular toured Australia's major cities. The story featured a property developer, and former girlfriend of Fonzie called Miss Frost wanting to buy the diner and redevelop it. It starred Craig McLachlan as Fonzie, Max Gillies and Wendy Hughes as Mr. and Mrs. Cunningham, Doug Parkinson as Al and Jo Beth Taylor as Richie's love interest Laura. Tom Bosley presented an introduction before each performance live on stage, and pop group Human Nature played a 1950s-style rock group. Another stage show, Happy Days, a new musical, began touring in 2008. Reunions: there have been 2 reunion shows. One was filmed in 1992 and the other in 2005 to commemorate the 30th anniversary. Both were set up in interview clip format. See also: Phones, references. External links: Happy Days at the Internet Movie Database, Happy Days at TV.com, Happy Days at Encyclopedia of Television, Happy Days related interview videos at the Archive of American Television Results.